All right, let's get started looking at Lab 29. Lab 29 and 30 are the last of the two, I'm going to say basic isometric drawings we're going to do. The next 5 or so after that involve curves and circles, which does up the complicated nature just a little bit, but only just a little bit. Luckily, once we start doing curves and circles, we have some tools that take a lot of the complication out, but figuring out where to place them is sometimes what's the hard part. We're going to start off today by drawing the isometric before we do the 3 views, or at least I am. You can follow along in whichever method that you prefer. The reason that I want to do the isometric view first is because, at some point you're going to be just doing isometric views. Last class, when I wasn't here, the assignment was to just do the isometric view of 28, and most of the ones that I received to grade were pretty good. So I think we're getting along, at least as a whole. May have some issues in some places, but we'll work to get those resolved. So, what I'm going to do first is, because I haven't drawn any part of this first, I'm going to go ahead and start off by doing like I usually do, the box that the shape is going to fit inside of. And I'm actually going to do the full rectangular prism for this because I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to need to put it. So my first step is going to be to glare at my screen because I can't read the numbers. Give me a sec. Stretch that back out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and clip off the right side view just a little bit here. I'll fix it later when we need to see the right side view, but right now the only information it has is the shape. This will at least help me see the numbers a little better. There we go. Okay, so our shape is 4 inches wide, 2.5 deep, and 1 3/4 inches tall. So what I'm going to do, excuse me, is start off by doing this a little bit differently. I'm going to do the back line of our isometric shape. So what I'm going to do to make that happen, essentially, is I'm going to set up my T-square here. I've got a 4-inch line that'll fit between or inside of my inside of my isometric quadrant here. And this is going to allow me to know for a fact that my entire shape is going to fit on the paper. I know that because of this. This is going to be the top, which is not typically where we've started in the past, but will work pretty well for this, I think. So I've got a 4-inch line there, and now because I know it's 2.5 deep, I'm going to make a 2.5-inch line there, and then just kind of finish this box. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I am intentionally not pressing very hard on the paper as I draw this because pretty much all of this is going to end up being erased. If I can hear the headphones you're not supposed to have, you're definitely not supposed to be listening to it that loud. Yeah. Okay, and the height was 1 3/4 inches, so 1 3/4 inches. One 3/4 inches. And 1 3/4 inches. Alright, so here I have the cube my isometric shape is going to fit inside of. Or a rectangular prism, it's not a cube. From there, I can go ahead and start defining features. So, for example, I know that this line here is an actual line of my shape. I know that this line here is an actual line of my shape. And then part of this one and part of that one stay as well. Excuse me. How much of those stay? Well, let's find out real quick. This front corner is going to have a 1/2 inch that stays, and the top is going to have 3/4. So, how I do that is this, exactly. I have put a 1/2 inch mark, or rather the 1/2 inch measurement of my triangle on my bottom corner. And I put a dot 1/2 of an inch up. There we go. And then I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch down this way and put a dot. As long as I do the measuring right, I don't even need to use the triangle for the measuring, because the line's already there. And then once I have those 2 dots, I just need to connect them to make my angle. Okay. Now we're going to end up building this in 3 separate sections. So you have the left hand or the right hand side here. You have the left hand side here, and then you have the center. And because we started drawing this as the box that this shape will fit in, this actually makes it quite a bit easier, even though we're going to have to do more erasing than we have had to lately. So the next, 3 lines and measurements I'm going to make are all going to be 3/4 of an inch. So my first step is going to be 3/4 of an inch across the bottom. And then I'm going to slide up and draw a 3/4 inch line to that spot right there. And I'm going to come up here to the spot where that angle starts and do another 3/4 of an inch. And then finally I'll measure 3/4 of an inch along the back line. Okay. Once I have those 2 lines and those 2 dots, all I have to do is connect them. Pro tip, don't put your T-square this far away from the edge of your drawing board. It's a wicked pain to keep lined up. Clean up here while I'm thinking about it. You can wait to do this till later or do it now, whichever you want. Just doing a little bit of cleanup. Alright, we're going to draw this same shape again on the other side. The only thing, there's really nothing different about it, and if there is anything different, we can erase it later. So it's going to be the same measurements. So across the front, I'm going to come up 1/2 of an inch. And then from the back corner, I'll come down 3/4. Okay. And then do the 3/4 inch line thing that we did to get these 4 there. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, 3/4 of an inch. There we go. Up here to the top. And then finally back to the corner. Okay, just like before, we'll connect them. Gosh dang it. Keep tearing my paper. That done, do a little bit more cleanup here. Now we are missing a couple bits of the lines that make up this one. These outside bits are hidden, so we aren't going to draw those, but there are inside bits. But in addition to the inside, there's that whole block that sits in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and find where to place that and then finish this up. Shouldn't take very long, pretty easy. So to do that, we're going to look at our drawing and we're going to know that the inset is 3/4 of an inch here. So I'm going to come from here and go 3/4 of an inch in. And then we're going to see that this block is 3/4 of an inch tall. Okay. If the height is 3/4 of an inch there, that means that the line at the back is going to be 1 inch. And those should just meet up with each other. Like that. And you are 3 lines from being done, and all of them don't require any measurement. All we're going to do is take these corners and draw them over until they touch the first shape that we drew. Oops. And just like that, shape's done. Let's see, what is it, 1 3/4? That means that's going to be a 1/2, 5/8 up. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, it's going to be close. All right. For the orthographic views, those should be pretty simple. If our shape is 2.5 inches, I'm going to put 1 1/8 on my center line here. And I'm going to make, let's see here. Actually, that's kind of backwards of the way I usually do this, for good reason. So instead, I'm going to start off with the horizontal measurements like we usually do and mark out 2 inches on either side of center, at the center, Then we're going to use that to put our 6/8 and 4/8, 10/8, so inch and an eighth. No, that doesn't seem right. Inch and 7/8. Brain is a squishy puddle of mush today. So the answer was 7/8, of course, because how could I have gotten that wrong? One on the left, or right in this case. One on the left. Connect them at the bottom. For the top, we're going to come in 3/4 of an inch from either side. I think I made that side too long. So 3/4 of an inch there. 3/4 of an inch there. We know from those second to last lines on the isometric view that our height here is 1 inch. So that's all we're going to do here. 1 inch. 1 inch. While I'm here and have the measurement ready, I'm going to come 1/2 of an inch, right? Yes. 1/2 of an inch up from the bottom. It's 1/4, that's 1/2 inch. And make a dot. And then I'm going to quickly finish this up by lining my T-square up with these lines there. And then with the dot right there. And the same on that side. And finally carrying that line down the rest of the way. Okay, so that's our front view. Hopefully I did that right, and I didn't. Ding dong me. So I should have shifted this down a little bit. I'm not going to do that though, and if you're following along the way that I am, don't do it either. But if you're starting from scratch and haven't done the front view yet, shift it down 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. It won't be centered on the center mark, but that's okay. But in any case, I did mess up, so we're going to go ahead and look at that part next. Should be 2 1/4. That means I'm going to put 1 1/8 of an inch on my line here. So that's 1/2. Two 1/4. Actually, with the angle, it's probably going to be okay. Not technically correct for full on, like I wouldn't turn this into my college professors like this, but on this side, we'll come up 1/2 an inch, which you don't necessarily have to measure, it's just easier for me. Here we're going to come over 3/4. You can see where I messed up and that they're kind of running into each other. It is okay. What is that? 3/4. That's going to be 1 3/4. This part's going to be a hidden line, but still have to draw it in. If you have an eraser shield, do this with the erasing shield. Don't do it by hand like I did. My erasing shield has flown the coop. But those are the only hidden lines on this drawing. Oh, we're going to run in that way too, aren't we? Ooh, no, just barely. Alright, the height is like 1 3/4. That was going to be 7/8, right? So I put my 7/8 mark there, and I'm just going to draw out a rumba. Is anyone even home in there? Be 1 1/4, ding dong. So what did I put there? 5 1/4. This means I'm going to go from 4. 1, 2, and 1/2. Yeah, I did. Okay, so just a FYI, my right side view is all kinds of wrong because I have apparently forgotten how to measure. If you were following the actual measurements, you did it right. Me, not so much. My brain is a pile of squishy goo today. Forgot to mark out 3/4. Alright, fix the right side view here. Let's see, that needs to go, and that needs to go, and that needs to go. Excuse me. Alright, if we're 2 1/2 long, that means that 1 1/4 is my center mark, not whatever in the world I did before. There's going to be 1, 2 1/2. I'm going to slide up here, put that mark. Slide up here, 3/4. And here it's going to be, what was it, 1 3/4? Feeling that way today. Oh, interestingly, that stays the same. Oh, no it doesn't. All right. There we go. Sweet. All right, and there it's done the right way. You know, when you can measure things properly. All right, lab 28, P2, 4, 13, 26, 1, 1. All right, and that is lab 29. Why did I call it lab 28 on here? Lab 29. Again, brain's a pile of goo today.